I'm convinced this is a nasty, crazy bitch. Yeah, and he started calling the cops. Brain damaged. Crisp, you are a NEET who lives off disability. How is it crazy? Oh, I'm not calling him a retard. I'm calling him schizophrenic. He's a schizo. That's why he has disability. Dude, I was at uni for a law degree. Oh God.
Do you know what the shit talk that she did?
But she acknowledges she can't. She acknowledges but she acknowledges that she can't pay rent, right?
Shouldn't be overlooked that there was probably like a way better way for them to handle this shit. Building up each other's egos and jacking each other off.
Okay, how should they have handled it better?
I blatantly told her, "Hey, I don't care about the law. I'll smash your fucking phone if you don't turn that stream off and get it out of my house."
She probably is like totally mind fucked.
No, where's the baiting? Where's the baiting?
Yeah, the bait is like, come to our cool streamer house. Like, Qbot is like this massive streamer.
Did they say that to her?
Smaller. No, well, I can't agree with these. Like, your debate tactics are like hollow, vague strawmans.
How is that a hollow, vague strawman?
You brought up the
analogy.
Understand?
Crisp.
I do not want to.
I do fear Crisp players. I do fear Crisp players. I genuinely don't know what that guy's gonna do.
Okay, all I came in to say, I have no doubt that they go, yeah, $1,000 in rent? No. Just go unpack those 2 boxes for me and we'll call it good.
This bitch just went insane in that house, right? I think let's skip through some of this.
And make an ass out of not only yourself, but the person that vouched for you and got you in the door. Like, you don't get to do that. You do not get to fucking do that. Do you have clips? Yes, we have VODs, we have clips, we have recordings, we have everything. We have screenshots of every interaction. Everything is there. She totally knew she couldn't afford living there from the beginning. And that's what's insane. You don't... Like, this is so fucking psychotic that this had to happen. This didn't even happen with Carmen. Carmen literally did the same sort of behaviors, talked shit behind our back, or not my back, but everybody else's backs. Talked shit behind their backs, and then we asked her to leave, had a big confrontation, didn't live stream it, didn't do anything weird. Carmen immediately called her mother and said, hey, could you get a U-Haul down here? Fly down here, help me pack, blah, blah, blah. We offered to help her pack. Malik decided to host a little standoff. You put yourself in a weak position, not gonna lie. It's not even me. It doesn't affect me at all. It affects Kiana. And that's the fucked up thing. Kiana vouched for this person. Kiana literally opened doors for this person. And she backstabbed her to the extent that I've never seen before. That was the dumbest, not only a dumb decision from a career standpoint, but a tactless, scummy, fucking personal decision. No, not Carmen the GTA.
I mean, yeah, that's true.
It was just insane.
This all sounds reasonable.
She's doing well with OTK and blow
I kind of want to know what happened.
I'm afraid she's going to be homeless out of her own poor decision. Good, she deserves it.
Well, I'm convinced this is a nasty, crazy bitch. But let's tell me what happened.
I don't care. I literally don't care. How do you even trust a deranged person? Kiana does look for the best in people, but when people show you their true colors, believe them. Believe them. It's just insane that this all just went down. Luckily, it went off without a hitch. All right. Luckily, I didn't lose my temper because I was losing my temper. There's parts in the VOD where I get very, 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 very angry, but it was a tactful anger. It was not actual anger like I was going to snap and lose my cool. It was okay, you're not listening. Let me put the fear of God in you so that you will start listening and you will start cooperating with the situation. So we can play all that, but we're going to start off with her VOD because I haven't seen this POV yet, and we're going to check it out.
He's not talking shit without any reason. This bitch just went insane in that house, right? I think let's skip through some of this. Because we've already seen this VOD.
What is your problem?
These bitches are throwing around the government like it's okay? What, no, I'm goon to you. I'm Gooner.
I did not talk any shit about you. Somebody...
Okay.
Jesus.
Ragekajin 3 just cheered 100 bits. Mute if you need to Mally.
Wish I was there for the Carmen 2.0. We should leak what happened to you to get kicked out of the house. You think you're much better? Yeah, we remember that. Don't think we forgot. Definitely.
Again,
yeah, I got done the same way as me.
Oh my God, turn the goddamn TTS down.
I don't, you can call me names or say things, I don't care. I know you are, and I'm paying you rent.
One second, I have to buy something on my alt monitor.
If you pay me, that is your choice. I told you I don't want your money. I said I am
Well,
not
Malik
commenting.
seems like she's going fucking crazy.
I did not bring this up once on my stream. On September 1st. I did not talk any shit about you. Somebody asked me my living situation, and I said I was currently kicked out. If you keep lying about me, I'm just gonna tell truth about you. That's all
I don't want your money. We're having an e-begging
I'm
subathon.
saying. If you keep lying on my name, I'm just going to say the truth. Just call the cops, please do. Please call the cops.
Izzy Allen says, so did I see that right? You're moving
You
again?
can leak whatever DMs you want. I have done nothing wrong. I have done nothing
Wait, you're moving?
wrong. Why am I going to come out when 3 people are outside my door screaming at me?
What way is a crazy situation to get put in? How is it crazy being asked to leave? She paid rent for 2 months, didn't pay rent on the 3rd month, helped them move some boxes and called that rent. And then she got asked to leave and started insisting that she wouldn't and locked the door. What? Sorry, what part of this is not her fault? Yeah, and she started calling the cops. Wasn't she like Cutebot's maid? She was cooking, cleaning, doing. I haven't seen any of that. Nothing has suggested that. She didn't even claim that while talking to Cutebot. Cutebot accused her of lying on her streams. So I wouldn't necessarily believe any of that. But Malik's argument was not, I was like your maid, I was doing all the work around the house. It was, I helped you move 2 box trucks, unpack 2 box trucks. She never once brought up being a maid when they were arguing.
What weirdo behavior have I done? I'm in my room! Am I not allowed to lock my own door?
This is not your room. You were a guest, and now we're asking you politely to leave.
I was a tenant and still am a tenant.
Never a tenant. You never paid rent, Malik.
I paid rent for 3 months in a row! I don't want to hear that lie!
Did you pay actual monetary value to rent?
I paid monetary value 2 months, and for the 2nd month, I had an agreement where
It's
I
a super fucked up thing to do to give someone housing and try to uproot their life. No, it's not. If you let someone live with you, and then the living situation becomes untenable because this person is difficult to be around, you can then say, hey, we kind of need you to leave. And then if you go as far as saying, hey, we need you to leave, and we're going to pay for your Airbnb and hotel and flights, and we're going to help you move, you've got no excuse. There is no justification there. The fuck? She's not paying rent.
box trucks worth of all of your stuff in exchange for rent.
She's ulting.
2 box trucks worth of all of your stuff in 3 days in exchange for that month's rent, and spot clean the entire house. We had a verbal agreement.
No, we had to get maids for the old house when we moved out of it. Let me just mention that one.
And the other ones I have paid in money.
She spot cleaned the new house, which was already clean when we got here.
Yeah,
Keep that in
okay,
mind.
so here we go. Gooner's talking about it here.
Malik, this is psychotic behavior. You're making everybody uncomfortable. There are other people in here, and it's going to metastasize into something bigger than what it needs to be. We can all just talk this through. It doesn't have to get ugly. Because you realize you're isolating yourself from not only us, but so many other people with this weirdo behavior. You get that?
What weirdo behavior have I done?
You are literally locking yourself in a room in a house you're not welcome.
I'm in my room. Am I not allowed to lock my own door?
This is not your room. You were a guest, and now we're asking you politely to leave.
I was a tenant and still am a tenant.
Never a tenant. You never paid rent, Malik.
I paid rent for 3 months in a row. I don't want to hear that lie.
Did you pay actual monetary value to rent?
I paid monetary value 2 months, and for the 2nd month, I had an agreement where I unboxed 2 box trucks worth of all of your stuff in exchange for rent.
She's ulting.
2 box trucks worth of all of your stuff in 3 days in exchange for that month's rent, and spot clean the entire house. We had a verbal agreement.
No, we had to get maids for the old house when we moved out of it. Let me just mention that one.
And the other ones I have paid in money.
She spot cleaned the new house, which was already clean when we got here. Keep that in mind. Just think about the logic for a second. We had to move out of the old house and pay like hundreds of dollars for cleaners. But she spot cleaned the new house that was brand new.
I don't know why you're doing this right now while I'm streaming. There's no such thing as safely escorted.
Yeah, Chris,
So
you got to
you
be
all want
trolling.
to-
Like, yeah, she may have been. once she stopped paying rent, she may have been doing work. Yeah, I imagine that probably was that. That sounds like what was happening. But she'd stopped paying rent. They're gonna tell her to fuck off eventually. Like,
remove me from the house and drive me to.
Yes, we do. Yeah, here's my POVs. I finally got him to work.
the reason she's being kicked out, they said, was because she is too financially and mentally unstable.
Work now, so we'll keep those on the second monitor. We'll run it back. We'll run it back from our POV.
A hotel.
Yeah, Chris is not
I wanna find the
trolling
parts
at
where I
all.
yell at
He's just like schizo simp. Dude, Chris, what do you mean they're so mad about her? She hasn't paid rent in a month. What? Chris, she's not paying rent.
How many times am I going to say I don't want to accept any money from you guys? Why do you feel threatened by me? What have I
She
done to you
literally
to feel
moved
threatened?
boxes, bro. Back off. So real.
Barely here, Alan.
I don't know why you're just spreading false information again.
If she didn't pay rent, why are they offering her back the rent? She acknowledges that she paid 2 months of rent, and in the third month, she did not pay any money. She acknowledges that. She paid rent for 2 months, but did not pay rent this month. They're offering her back the rent because they want her fucking gone. They clearly want her out so fucking bad. She said in the second month she didn't pay. No, I think she said she paid rent for the first 2 months. And then the third month was work. No? I mean, maybe it could be the second month was work too. I thought she said she paid she paid rent 3 times. And then the people outside said, did you pay monetarily 3 times? And she said, I paid 2 months. And then the third month, I did work. That's what she said. No?
So what happened to spark all this situation? Okay, Malik was a welcomed guest for a few months, and she approached Kiana and said, hey, I can't afford rent, blah, blah, blah. She first came to visit, then it extended, then it extended, then it extended, blah, blah, blah. She said, hey, I can't afford to pay rent. Could you spot me?
Okay,
in
here
any
we
shape
go.
or form? So she did certain tasks for Kiana, clean the house up, blah, 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 and then Kiana covered all her rent. Then we found a new person who could...
Okay, so there you go. She was doing maid work. Okay, right, yeah. So it is the first month. All right. So the first month, she says she comes over there. She wants to stay. She asks. It sounds like she asks to stay, and the stay extends. And they're like, "Hey, if you're going to keep staying, you need to pay rent." She says, "I can't afford rent. I'll do work." So that happens for a bit. And then it sounds like, I guess she starts paying rent.
move in that will be able to afford to pay rent and would be better mesh for the household after you guys have seen all this behavior. Like, this kind of vindicates us in the hindsight. We told her, hey, you need to go, and we're getting somebody else because they can afford rent. It's strictly business. This isn't like us hating on you. This isn't us like...
Wait, no, Chris, you're totally wrong. He's explaining it here. It's because she's not paying rent. This is someone who is financially stable enough to be paying rent. The fuck? They know this person will be able to make rent every month, so they want her gone so they can get this person who can pay rent in. This makes total sense. What? How do they not have a good case here? That is going good, yeah.
Singling you out, it's just, the way the world works. You can't afford it, you can't live here. You then skip a few fucking weeks, skip a few days, blah, blah, blah. It metastasizes into her becoming a squatter and freaking the fuck out and just becoming, like, really reclusive, not leaving the room, blah, 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 blah. It's, yeah, it's been a fucking weird few days. Oh, and then yesterday morning, it really escalates because then she starts contacting the police. And I wake up from my floor. I go to bed at 4 a.m. after gambling. Okay, let's go ahead and ban LA Changed Action Girl. Let's go ahead and get that guy permanently banned. Thank you for coming. I wake up on my shitty little floor bed. By the way, I had to wash my goddamn blankets. I wake up on the floor to the police right outside my door because her room is right there. Her room is right next door to mine. The fucking police are in the house. I wake up to that. I'm like fucking, like, what the hell is going on? And I stay cool. I stay calm. I don't freak out. I don't fucking storm out there and do anything rash. I just listen. And she's asking the police what her squatter's rights are. and she's like manipulatively crying and not crying, talking to them, and blah 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 blah. One thing leads to another, and I did record that as well. I did record that as well because it's in my home and I'm allowed to. And we're fucking live streamers. We record shit. We're streamers. Blah blah blah. Like, you don't get to bring the police into a like house that you're not welcome in and escalate it to that level. Like that's insane.
You're not allowed to touch any of my stuff, though.
Crisp, you are a NEET who lives off disability. Crisp, you are a NEET who lives off disability.
Why the fuck would you storm out there? Okay, well, you gotta understand. I'm already like not very fond of the police, and I try to stay very well clear of them. If I wake up and there are like authority figures just randomly in my fucking home,
when he's getting let go from his barber job. So glad you guys are going to be back on top of each other.
Let's
Bye, Malik.
Okay, thank you for leaking the script. Yes, me and Dunkle are gay. Yes, he's moving in, and it's gonna be a fucking party, baby. I'm carving a little circular hole right there, and it goes in and it goes out, baby. Come on now. Dunkle's the new roommate. I wanted to hold this. I wanted to keep this under wraps, but he's coming, baby. Dunkle's barbershop is out. I'm gonna stick my head through the glory hole, and he's gonna shave me right up. I'm gonna have the cleanest lineup every day, and you know what? I can't even joke like this. Okay, back to the video. Yeah, Malik's a fucking psycho piece of shit. That's it.
If you want me to leave and take me to a hotel right now, right now, you cannot touch any of my stuff, though.
Oh, I'm not calling him a retard. I'm calling him schizophrenic. He's a schizo. That's why he has disability.
I will come back and pack. I will come back and pack.
But this is someone who has never had to think about paying rent or having, you know, like a home or having property or having things that, you know, they own or they want people out of. He's never had to think about that because it's all given to him by the government and has been for years. He just sits there rotting around pizza boxes. So obviously he understands what the mindset of a layabout squatter is, a freeloading squatter who is refusing to pay rent and then having a mental breakdown and refusing to leave.
Pack later.
Do you trust Alan?
No.
Okay, then.
I will be packing all of my stuff.
Malik, it's not that much stuff. We should pack.
Yes, but if you want me out of the house right now, sure. But all of my, I will come back, and I will let you guys know when to pack all my stuff.
All her stuff, meaning like a suitcase of clothes and those Pokemon plushies back there. That bed ain't hers. The desk isn't hers. The chair is not hers. I was jerking off on that chair literally 3 months ago before I took Deathly Ill's chair. Like, this is not, there's not much to pack up. Swear to God. Like, do you see how yellow that chair is? That started off as pearly white, baby. That was a pearly white chair.
Okay, so right now, because the situation's hostile.
Pete.
This is clearly hostile.
Nothing was hostile until you called the police to the house when we were all
I was threatened.
Dude, I was at uni for a law degree. Oh, God.
Malik, you were told that if you try anything to stay in the house longer than you were welcome.
Yeah, notice how it wasn't, I graduated with a law degree. I graduated a law degree. Notice that wasn't that. It's I was at uni for a law degree.
All right.
Getting weird. You were making it weird. You were fucking Malik. You had an agreement to stay for a few more days. You had that agreement, but then you broke that by calling the police and asking them what your squatter's rights were.
I never asked them what my squatter's rights were.
did.
You guys illegally shut off my power.
I recorded.
You illegally recorded me as well, so that's 2 crimes you committed. Nice for saying that.
Wait, I committed a crime by recording my home?
Yes, in California, there's a 2-party consent law to recording.
Yeah, and I consented to recording.
I didn't. I didn't.
So thank you.
That's 2-party.
I don't consent to her recording in my home. I don't consent to her live streaming in my home. Yeah, here's the
Chris wants to come in. Okay. Well, you're not even. What do you mean pull you in? You're not in. You have to be connected to one of the voice channels for me to pull you in, Crisp. I don't know if I can recover. Okay.
the thing. Let me give you the long and short of it. There are times where she starts to bring up legalities, and I blatantly told her.
Oh, he's here. He's here. Okay, you're trying to recover this, yeah?
Hello.
Your Pepe's punching like Wiggler.
I could put a little Kuihman wiggler in there to get punched. Fuck.
Okay, what did you have? How is this
Should I cam up,
unreasonable?
please?
No, I'm not gonna. I
Fully.
can't. I'm not gonna. My.
You don't want to
capture's
see
not
the
set up
pizza
properly.
boxes?
It's just my capture's not set up. It would take a lot of effort to set it up on OBS. It's just.
Okay.
I can
I
see
don't
the
want
pizza
people to
boxes
think-
though. I've seen the I'll screen cap this.
I don't want people to think that like I'm calling you a liar when you say that I'm like a destitute fucking loser. But I did study law, and I have like been in the workforce for like many decades. And
many decades. Like, how old are you?
Pretty 32.
Okay.
But I worked since I was like 12. I worked through like school my whole life.
Okay, so 2 decades.
Yeah, decades. And I'm a streamer, bro. This is a career. This isn't just a job.
Okay. Well, what's your monthly income from that?
Sorry, I'm still reeling. Fucking, where were we? I don't know. Like, for her to get baited into like living with these people, and then for them to like come out hard against her.
Wait. Baited into living with them? How?
Well, there's like a total lack of appreciation from them that this is like
baited. How is she
totally
baited? How is she
her life, right? The baiting comes with like them super aggressively, bluntly, and like nebulously like making all these claims against her when she like lives with these people.
No. That's not baiting. No, where's the baiting?
Stressful.
Where's the baiting? Baiting is luring someone. You know, making something seem.
Well, those actions would make her look crazy, and that's a really horrible thing to do to someone who has like moved their entire life into your house.
But they didn't bait. Where's the bait?
Well, the bait would be doing that after like appearing very welcoming.
No. Bait happens at the start. Bait is. What did they do to bait her?
Yeah, the bait is like, come to our cool streamer house. Like Qbot is like this massive streamer.
Did they say that to her? Smaller. Did they say, come to our cool streamer house? You can come stream here?
I'm sure she was invited to the streamer house.
Sure she was. You don't know, but you don't know that. She couldn't. It could be that she was maybe talking to Gooner Gooch, maybe had a sexual relationship with him and went there to stay, and then kept asking to stay longer. But you're assuming that they asked her and promised her like a streaming career there.
She's actually in a sexual relationship with me, so definitely not with Gooner.
That what I've been hearing in chat was that she had a sexual relationship with Gooner. So, listen, Chris, it's looking worrying.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, with Gooner?
With Gooner.
Fuck. That seems almost worse, that they would just like let someone in who was not invited.
Well, I mean,
it's almost like a bigger bait.
That they were probably talking. They probably made arrangements to meet up. To essentially hook up, to stay with each other for a bit, and then she kept asking to stay for longer, is what it sounds like.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like something I've seen before with like young people like Gooner and shit. Do you know what the shit talk that she did?
But she acknowledges she can't.
Like super pissed off about the shit talk, right?
But she acknowledges that she can't pay rent, right?
Right.
So why would they keep her there?
Yeah, that makes sense. But the overreaction and the crazy making.
How is an overreaction when she's starting to ask for squatters' rights and calling the police to try and figure out her squatters' rights to stay there? How is it overreacting?
Well, as the evidence that she did that.
Yeah. She
says she's not doing it. And then Gooner's just like, no, she did. Like, they brought the police up to her while these 3 people are like yelling at her through her door, which in itself is like retarded, right? That they should probably, there are like legislations that like, hey, this is a really difficult situation, widely viewed to be like kind of horrible for like everyone involved. So the state
I'm pretty sure she acknowledged that she called the
police.
I'm pretty sure she acknowledged that she did that.
Well, it doesn't matter if she called the police.
I mean, it does. If she's calling the police and asking them about squatters' rights when they don't want her in the house, yeah, they're going to get pissed off and want her to leave now. Yeah.
They brought up the police first. Is just like
they brought up the
something
police
I don't
first?
think should be like. What we were just watching was them yelling about the police through her door, and then she was like, "Call the police if you want," and then she's I'll call the police.
What we were just she called the police before that. She'd already called the police. That was after she'd already called the police.
Sheesh.
She called the police the night before. The police came in the middle of the night. That's what Gooner said, and he recorded it. Police came in the middle of the night, and she was speaking to them about squatters' rights.
Wait,
And
is
so
it because
the next day they were
turned
like,
her
"You're
power
out."
off?
I don't know if I think they might have turned the power. I'm not sure. I don't know if that was ever made clear.
Yeah, she tweeted that like she called the police because they turned her power off, which again seems like a heavy-handed, what's the word? Like an extortion tactic. I'm not saying it is that.
It's not extortion.
Like
It's trying to make her leave, right? It's trying to make it uninhabitable to her.
All of these things are going to like cost her quite a lot to like be
They're
fucked over
offering
in
to
this way.
They're offering to pay for her to get out, right?
They're making content out of it.
But they're saying they're going to pay her Airbnb, her flights. They'll pay any moving costs. They've said all that, right? That's what they were saying through the door. Is that we'll pay for everything? Just get out.
Why do you think they would pay for these things? Just because they hate her so much, or
because they hate her. They're sick of her
a
being
payoff
there.
to be like, hey, we've been kind of fucked up.
She's having
But,
a mental breakdown where she's locking her door and calling the police. So they want her out because it's an unstable situation. So they are willing to pay to make it stop.
It seems like they're having a mental breakdown, like pushing into her personal space, which is like her bedroom, right?
Which because she's locked the door in the house they own.
Well, everyone sort of like deserves their own like safe space to like deal with their shit.
It's not her space.
I think it really would be her space.
She's not paying.
This is like why things like squatters' rights comes as like a fairly loaded term, but like everyone deserves like a space, like a basic human decency.
But that's not her space, and she can perfectly have a space. She can have an Airbnb. They're offering to pay for it, but that's not her space, and she's being asked to leave.
Oh, fuck. Sorry, I just muted. I went to turn my camera off because it's not even working, and you're not even using it. It just seems like very heavy-handed to them, right? How does chat feel about this? Are they roasting me?
Stylo says arguing against a schizophrenic brick wall is what Stylo said, but that's Stylo.
Yeah, I just think it's like not something a lot of like younger people will like clearly understand.
Why won't younger people clearly understand that you can't live somewhere for free? Why is that something younger people won't clearly understand?
Because it's going to seem like very relatable that like this is some totally egregious situation and they're allowed to treat her in whatever way she wants. When like in reality, it's kind of super fucked up, super difficult for her to deal with as like also a young person trying to deal with her shit. They're like banging on her door.
Look, she's desperate. She's being a control freak the entire time. She's desperately trying to control the situation and grasp for anything she can. She's saying, "I need at least 4 days until I leave." She's saying, but she's calling the police. Everything she can do to get control in the situation, she's doing, but she's in the wrong. She shouldn't be there. She's been asked to leave repeatedly, and she's not paying.
No matter like what reaction she has, I'm always going to have like a little bit of leniency when she's like also being like mistreated. It's not that I like overly think she's like dealing with this in the best way, but I don't expect like some young retarded girl to like be able to handle this.
Especially if she is like mentally ill when she's not paying. This is like very basic.
It's like more than that, right?
Well, how is it more than that?
yeah, that is a very basic understanding of like reality, but not the situation.
Okay, so that is what's happening.
What's literally happening is like these people banging on her door, and like she talked to police about. Police aren't lawyers, right? So talking to the police about squatters' rights is probably also just these police being like, "Hey, there's certain things you could look into that could maybe give you like a more concrete understanding of what's going on here."
She's trying to call the police so they will enforce the protection of her squatters' rights, so they will stop her from being kicked out. That's what she's trying to do.
Well, she said she was calling the police because they were shutting off her power. So you can like repeat all of Gooner's points as if they're facts,
the enforcement of squatters' rights.
Okay, well, even that wouldn't be like as inconsistent as a lot of the shit that Gooner's talking about. It just seems like they talked a lot of shit about her, and then they feel like justified and like.
Why would it matter if they're talking
really
shit
strong.
about her? Why would that make a difference if they're talking shit?
Because they've gassed each other up to feel like there's nothing we could do that was wrong. We can paint this chick in the worst light. We've got clips. We've got this. We've got that.
Yeah. So
when, like, I'm pretty sure there would be a lot of evidence on both sides.
What are they doing wrong?
they're misusing their ability or their perceived ability to like control everything that goes on inside this house to like invade her space and kick her out.
But they're within their rights to kick her out.
And you would admit there are rights to people who even don't pay rent, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you would admit that. So
It
like
sounds
there
like
is a certain way of
she's been
handling
asked
these
to leave
things.
for an extended period of time, and she's been given every opportunity to leave. Not just every opportunity,
Yeah,
she's being
sure.
given extra opportunities to leave. She's being told they will pay for Airbnbs, flights, hotels, whatever. She's being given everything, and she's still refusing.
Yeah, once again, I'll just say that like all of that does sound like really bad, but like also it shouldn't be overlooked that there was probably like a way better way for them to handle this shit, and they're probably like
how
building up each other's egos and jacking each other off.
Okay, how should they have handled it better? Just leave her.
There's-
Just let her stay.
No.
Because they got her out. They got her out right after they were shouting outside the door. Within hours, she was gone. It seems like. So, I mean, how could they have handled it wrong?
Jesus.
They got what they wanted, right? For in a good time frame.
There's like pretty standard processes for like moving people in and out of your house, as well as like relating to people on like the struggles that they're going through.
Yeah,
and then,
there's also standard processes
get
for
them out.
living in someone's house, which includes paying rent, which she wasn't following.
well, you know that there was like more agreements on her living there.
It sounds like she bargained
as well as,
towards the end 'cause she was
probably
out of
like more
money.
demands. There was probably more demands on her than just paying rent as well that were negotiated.
It seemed to be the case that she was doing other things in the months where she wasn't paying rent. But sure, that seems to be what was described by both of them.
They would have been like, hey, like we,
Like, yeah,
moving
you're not
in there
paying.
would have been.
You're not paying rent, so clean.
It seems like the whole premise of that house is that most of them are not like quite able to afford it, but are valued by Kiana in alternative ways. Right?
I don't know. I imagine they all pay their agreement though. No, they all pay the agreed rent.
I'm sure that they all do more than that. There's all like ways that they contribute to Kiana specifically.
It's a content house, so they
the vast
definitely
majority of the money.
they're obviously there to contribute to the content.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, Malik wasn't paying her agreed rent. It sounds like the others do. That's the reason they're moving her out. They're moving in someone who is financially stable and mentally stable.
Right. That might be true, but it also feels like pretty convenient for like them to say that when like in reality they would have been talking about like alternative ways of her paying like a quote unquote rent, such as like she was literally
but you imagine the alternative
Kiana's
ways of
maid,
paying
and
rent, the cleaning for people, the cleaning for the month that she was not paying rent. That these things are being worked out under the assumption that you're streaming and you're going to be making money and you'll be able to pay rent soon, right? It's not, oh yeah, you're just gonna live here forever and be a maid for free. That was never. I don't think that was the proposition here.
Yeah, but am I mistaken in the fact that like Gooner just like went way out of his way to like completely undermine any of that, which really paints like a weird picture of
how did he undermine it?
like his motivations?
How did he undermine
He just said that like even if he did agree to the cleaning, right, and then he's like, but it had already been cleaned. Well, that just seems like he made a really dumb business decision, and it doesn't really mean that she did anything wrong by being like, oh yeah, I'll do these things like pay rent.
She's suggesting she's saying I did all this work. I unpacked the stuff and I spot cleaned this house, and he's saying, yeah, that isn't really that much work. It was a brand new house.
And you think that makes Gooner look like better?
I mean, that
or
sounds
you think it like justifies
it sounds
all
like
of his other claims?
it sounds like he's correct.
It sounds like he's shit talking in order to like undermine everything else about it.
If I say
he's like
if I say
right?
if I say I cleaned this entire house, if I say that and then you realize the house was already clean beforehand, would that not change your view of my statement?
It would change my view if you had agreed to like clean the house and this had been agreed to be your job and agreed to be your contribution.
But we don't even know
like, that thing that we offered you, that was actually like bait because we were all going to say again later that wasn't worth it. But it's like, well, you offered me this, right? Like, you offered me like the situation, and I agreed to it. And then later on, you said it wasn't a good offer, but that's not her fault, right?
Well, it sounds like she was bargaining. She was saying, "Oh, I'll do this, I'll do that," and then when it comes around to being kicked out, she's like, "I did all that stuff to you. I did all that stuff for you. Look how I did so much for you." And he's saying, "It wasn't really that much. That seems reasonable. What's the problem?"
I don't know. That's not a very good imitation of Malik that you just did.
Okay, it wasn't meant to be a good imitation. I was just expressing the meaning of the statements.
It just feels like he's like incredibly poisoning the well with like vague, terrible claims because he's not shown any evidence yet, and the things he says are like kind of contradictory.
It was not a contractual agreement. They cut her some slack for a month, but she was clearly incapable of fulfilling a financial agreement that she willingly entered. She agreed to rent, bargained with them when it came time to pay because she couldn't make the money, and they were like, "Okay, listen, we'll cut you some slack for now, but you've got to start making money," and she's still not making money.
Damn, she should have just sucked his dick more. Dumb bitch. Yeah. Honestly, I'm pretty sure this is going to end up with her like being able to unexplain herself. She probably is like totally mind fucked. People are going to be like totally mind fucked, and she should just stream through it. She should just keep streaming.
She doesn't stream. She's not like a streamer.
She streams every day. She streams herself sleeping at night. Malik Sleeps is the channel.
Oh, okay. Is that actually true?
Yeah. She streams like every day. And then she has like narcolepsy, which I think was so like when she first moved into the flat.
But she gets no viewers.
She gets like 30 to 80 viewers.
So she's not making any money,
needs to like
ever.
She needs to like actually do content. I don't know. It's hard to say because like
she
you
can't,
know, with, like
because she's like
Sunday,
she's like insane. She's completely fried, right? You realize that? That's why
she's
they want
brain
her out.
damaged.
It's because
she's insane.
Well, there you go. This is like why they want her out, right? It's because she's like totally fried.
She's literally me.
Okay, but this is why they want her gone, right?
I love her, Kuihman.
But this is why they want her gone, isn't it?
And you need to stop.
But you know this is why they want her gone, is because she's like a mentally ill, crazy freak.
Nah, I think they want her gone because they're like
that's
insecure.
Clearly the reason. No, that's clearly the
back.
reason. She's brain damaged, makes no money, and locks herself in her room.
You
they
think
want her
these
gone because she's a mentally
are the most like clued on, switched together person.
No,
these
I think most of them
Gooner
operate on a baseline. I think Cutebot and Jar have been streaming, like consistently making fuck tons of money for years, and they probably have their basic shit put together. Malik clearly does not.
That big.
No, but Jar used to be bigger and probably helps out a lot with the production of Cutebot's show, I imagine.
Yeah, I think Jar does go hard, and Cutebot is like unprecedented in how extreme she is.
Like they've been running a business. Malik cannot run a business. She's clearly too brain damaged, if that's what the case is.
Yeah, Malik needs to actually like make content. She doesn't actually do like content anymore.
But she can't.
So she
seems
is
like
kind of fucked.
She seems like just fried, right? This is why they want that. This is what I'm trying to get across. They want her out because she's totally fried. She's clearly mentally unstable. She can't hold her life together.
Yeah, I can't argue against it because they're allowed to like want what they want. But like they're obviously like retarded young streamers who like don't really have like a concept of things and are just trying to use like social and emotional like gaslighting to like fuck with her. And I bet that feels real good for them to do. But I'm sure if she just like sat down, like filmed these things,
it just looks like she's spazzing out. That's all that's happening. They want her gone for good reason. Yeah, she's not paying.
They're bullying like a brain damaged girl. I don't expect.
No, they're trying to evict the brain damaged girl. They're trying to evict her. They're trying to get rid of her. They want her out.
And they're doing that in like the wrong way.
What do you mean they're doing that in the wrong way? How do you get someone out when they're locking their door or refusing to leave? It starts getting into a very tense situation.
Like, threaten to call the police. You actually do go contact like a tenancy agency and like lawyers.
Usually that is the first way you go. I think most people, when they're trying to get someone out of their house, if they've got a guest staying in their house and they're locking themselves in the room, they would say, "Hey, listen, get the fuck out. I'm going to call the police." If that doesn't work, then you call the police. They
Well,
wouldn't go
most
and talk
people
about...
and common sense are like generally retarded. You think that shit would work on me, Kuihman? I would fucking demolish these
It
people if
worked.
they tried that
Malik,
shit on me.
Malik left eventually. Malik left within a few hours, so it clearly did work.
Well, it's widely viewed to be like a wrong and like horrible thing to do, which is why the government has like implemented, and I mean not just the government, like corporations have like implemented like standard practices, like the Consumer Rights Act, 1975.
What? So you can't call the police on someone refusing to leave a building?
You can, but it would just be widely viewed as like weird and horrible, especially when
By
used
who?
as a threat.
By who?
What, by the people doing it, by the people like
No,
flexing over this
who
person.
views it as a terrible thing to do?
Society in general.
You said there was government legislation about this. Where's that?
Yeah, to be in the Consumer Rights Act.
What? It's in the Consumer Rights Act that you can't call the police on someone if they're refusing to leave a building.
Yeah, there's probably even a tenancy
There's
act
probably
as well.
There's probably a tenancy act.
And-
You're saying that
and-
tenants can't have
and I
their
mean,
police called on them to get them to leave
we
if they're
brought up the
refusing to pay
squatters'
or refusing
rights.
to leave.
There's like the Squatters' Rights Act would be like a similar thing that would probably cover some of it. And there's a reason we have like lawyers who are like highly trained in order to like figure this shit out, because it is
You
complicated.
realize you can still call the police on them, right? How much power the police have to do something about it and remove them?
You
is
can do a
different
lot
thing.
of like awful fucked up things,
It's
but then
not
to like
fucked up to call
grandstand
the
over
police
it.
on someone. How is it fucked up to call the police on someone who's refusing to leave your house?
What, you think every time someone calls the police, it's just like the right thing to do?
I think when someone's
Is that what
refusing
you're
to
trying to
leave,
tell me?
I'm saying that in a
Get shit on,
situation where
bro.
someone is refusing to leave your house, it's okay. Yeah, calling the police is acceptable. Why do you not think it is?
But she called the police on them, right?
Yep.
Okay. So
Why
they
did-
didn't call the police. They just threatened to call the police to try to like pressure her and psychologically fuck her up.
Okay. You
Or did they
recognize?
do it for some other way?
Okay. If I call the police,
Why did they not
because
do
if
it
I call
then?
the police
Why
because
did
someone's
they just
standing
threaten
outside if someone's standing outside my house with a gun and I call the police, is that okay?
Yes.
If I see a black person just walking down the street minding their own business and I call the police, is that okay?
No, dude. You want to get that black
Okay,
guy killed?
so-
What the-
Well, okay. So obviously there's some situations where it's okay to call the police and some where it's not.
That's a-
Right? Right, Crisp? So when Malik calls the
Sorry,
police,
I was laughing.
so when
I
Malik
couldn't hear
calls
that
the
laugh.
police because she's getting kicked out,
Whoa, go back a little bit. Go back. Explain that 2 sentences. I was laughing.
so sometimes it's okay to call the police and sometimes it's probably not, right? So when Malik
Mhm.
is calling the police because she's being kicked out of a house she's not paying for and has no reason to be in, she's been asked repeatedly to leave, that's probably, I would say, that's not an okay time to call the police. When someone says,
Well,
I'm
she
going to call the
probably needs a
police
mediator,
because someone
right?
is refusing to leave your house, I would
It's
say,
not that
yeah, that
bad.
is probably okay. It's an okay time to call the police. Yes, that is bad. If someone who seems mentally unstable, refusing to leave your house, that's a fucking horrible situation. Yes.
But they didn't call the police. They just tried
threatened
to like
to.
hold it over her. Yeah,
They threatened to.
exactly.
They said, we don't have to call the police. They didn't want to have to do that. They want to just pay her to get out and not fuck her over too hard.
Think about it like this. Imagine they had like caught her smoking meth in her room. And instead of calling the police, they were like, we're gonna call the police unless you like give us a whole bunch of shit, like
No,
doing what
that's
we
not.
want, paying us more money.
That's extortion. That's extortion. This is asking her
Yeah,
to leave.
exactly.
This is saying this is
That's
if
like
someone
fucking
was
extortion.
smoking meth in your house and you said, "Get the fuck out," or "I'm calling the police," that'd be totally reasonable.
It seems like they're leveraging the situation to try to like put her down, which will probably make them feel even better
No, okay,
about
no,
probably
no,
doing something
no.
fucked up.
You acknowledge that would be totally reasonable. If someone was smoking meth in your house and you said, "Get the fuck out," or "I'm calling the police," that would be reasonable, right?
Sorry, I was reading a 3 told Polly's message in chat.
It's reasonable to say to someone when they're smoking meth in your house, "Get the fuck out," or "I'm calling the police." Correct?
You should just call the police.
Why? Okay, let's say you're friends with this person. You don't want them to go to jail.
Don't confront like methods on their shit unless it's like a sneak attack and you're throwing them down a flight of stairs.
Okay,
Like,
this is just like retarded engagement. Is it acceptable to say, "Get the fuck out," I'm calling the police"? Yes or no?
No, well, I can't agree with these like fucking your debate tactics are like hollow vague strawmans.
How is that a hollow vague straw man? You just said to me, you brought up this hypothetical.
I could
You brought up
when you've gone through
the analogy.
Understand.
Crisp, you brought up the analogy of a meth head smoking in your house. You brought that up.
Not my. That is a straw man of my analogy.
How is that a straw man?
Because that wasn't my full analogy. That is a small part of my
analogy. Because you changed the actions they took. You made it disanalogous later on down the line. You made the straw man because you made it disanalogous by saying they're extorting her for money. What actually happened is they said, "Get the fuck out," wasn't it? That's what happened.
Wait, but they brought this to the internet first, right? They're the ones banging on her door.
Okay, and this is irrelevant. This is irrelevant. That's irrelevant. That's irrelevant. That's not what we're talking about.
It's not at all irrelevant. It directly applies to their public image.
It's completely irrelevant. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Not what we're talking about. 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 Chris,
well, we could talk about motivations.
If someone's smoking meth in your house, is it acceptable to say, "Get the fuck out," or "I'm calling the police"? Answer yes or no.
I don't have a response to your vain moralistic question.
Okay. There's just no engagement. That's not engaging. That is not having a conversation. Okay.
I blatantly told her, hey, I don't care about the law. I'll smash your fucking phone if you don't turn that stream off and get it out of my house. I don't care about the law. I will dump your fucking laptop into a body of water. I just don't care. What are you going to do? I'm not going to do that now because she did meet my demands and she did leave my home. But the thought was there. I don't give a shit. I literally could not care less about smashing her laptop and her phone. I just don't. Should I call an SJC? Don't worry, Kimmy, it's handled. It's handled. At least keep it. No. You gotta send messages. You gotta send a message to certain people. She wasn't listening. She was not cooperating. So I just blatantly told her, you gotta go.
Again, Tim, are you still?
She tried to fucking record the house that she was leaving when we took her to a hotel. Let me explain the logic. She was leaving her stream recording, live streaming to the public, a room in a house that she was removed from, and she is not welcome in. She left her phone here rather than just pack all her shit because it'd take her 10 fucking minutes pack it all up. She leaves it in the room as some sort of defense mechanism. Like that would fucking stop me from stomping in that room and smashing it on live stream. Like I don't care. I literally do not care. So I explained that to her.
Tim.
Like the last thing you would see
Tim,
is that phone
I will right now
pointed towards the laptop and me mangling it with a fucking hammer. I don't care.
Will end my stream. I will end my stream.
I know. This is the big drama stream. Guys, guess what? KCIP might actually get up to $5 this time. We've been sitting at a steady 3. And she starts pulling the government, piss me off. We might get to $5 tonight, so keep spamming. Not emotes, but spam words.
I will end my stream. I will go to a hotel. And I will be back tomorrow to talk my stuff. I do not want to
I do fear Chris Plattis. I do fear Chris Plattis. I genuinely don't know what that guy's going to do. I truly... You're right. Correct.
It is insane.
She unboxed two box trucks, guys. Guys,
Malik, this is Malik. You're being paid. You're being paid to safely leave into a safe, perfect hotel.
Horse be like 6 hours of work. That'll pay my rent for the month, right?
I don't know why Alan had to keep saying it's safe. You're being paid to leave into a safe, secure.
What the fuck? This guy just misclick. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. Oh, he came to argue.
Malik, it's super unnecessary what's going on right now. It didn't need to get escalated to even the cops coming.
This shit's broken.
Yes, absolutely. We won't touch any of yours. Just pack it up. Pack it up. We'll help you pack. Alan will help you pack. You trust Alan, right? Do you trust Alan? No. Okay, then just pack up your stuff. Malik, it's not that much stuff. You can just pack it up.
Yes, but you want me out of the house right now. But all the money, I will come back. And I will let you guys know when I pack all my stuff.
Okay.
Okay, so right now the situation's hostile.
No, the situation isn't hostile, Malik. You made it hostile. Nothing was hostile until you called the police to the house when we were all sleeping.
I was threatened.
You were not threatened, Malik. You were told that if you...
Okay, all I came in to say was I think you're severely underestimating how lazy fucking streamers are, especially ones who make money. I have no doubt that they go, yeah, $1,000 in rent? No, just go unpack those 2 boxes for me and we'll call it good.
I mean,
I don't doubt that was an agreement that got struck with her.
That doesn't sound like how it would have happened to me. I get the feeling
No,
it was probably more like it was probably more like it came around for rent time. They asked for rent. She was like, "Oh, I can't pay. Listen, guys, I'll try and help you out as much as I can. Please just let me stay a bit longer." And then the box trucks thing happened, and she's referring back to that, going, "I did that for you guys. I did that. Why are you kicking me out?" I think that's what happened.
Well, no, she's also doing that. Okay, she's also doing that. But I have
but
no
that's
doubt
it. No,
that
but that's
somebody was
totally
incredibly
different to
fucking
say-
lazy and made that offer.
But okay, but it's different to if someone asks for rent and then the response is, "Oh, please just let me stay a bit longer. I'll help out." And they say, "Okay, sure, we'll let you stay a bit longer. Just try and get yourself back on your feet." That's a different thing to go pick up those boxes. That's $1,000.
She's still taking advantage of them. Absolutely. Yeah, she's still absolutely taking advantage of them. I'm just saying that like they're like, oh, well, that's not really that much work. I have no doubt that one of them was fucking streaming, and they're like, just go do this work for me, and we'll call it good. Anyway, that's all. I just feel like we're. She probably did get told that was good. She's probably not like totally crazy on that.
I feel
Anyway,
like I don't know.
defending
Just
her for
having
taking advantage of them.
watched all the stream, I just feel like she is totally crazy.
I've not seen her POV yet. I'd watched like 5 minutes of this while I'm setting up my document for my
You should
stream,
watch
so
her.
Anyway,
Yeah,
I'll check it out.
Alright,
We'll talk about it later.
We'll argue about it. Yeah.
Yeah, are you retarded? Like, are you actually this dumb? No, it just like pack up your stuff. Pack up your stuff on stream. We don't want your stream viewers to think you're unsafe. Pack up your stuff now.
I don't think that
Pack
works
your
like that
stuff
on
up
private
now,
property.
so that it's
What-
ready.
I don't care.
Yes, you do need to pack your stuff up now.
I don't give a shit.
Like, this is insane. This is insane that we're dealing with this right now.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck what she says. Did she really talk shit about Cupid and lie about it? Yes, she did.
This is why you
You're
should
making
never
it
try to
insane,
help
Mike.
people. Take note, everyone. So true.
Yeah, now, please pack up your stuff right now.
I grabbed my phone. I literally, when I ended this last video to show you, I grabbed my phone, changed my kick title, and grabbed my alt phone. And I was ready to begin a 12-hour torture session. Live on Kick. I was ready. And luckily, not luckily for you guys, but luckily for her, it didn't escalate to that. I had my phone. I had an Amazon cart full of flashbangs, full of tear gas, full of the smelliest shit that I could find. I literally say in one of these videos, "Hey, Donna, could you grab me an extra speaker?" Because I was going to be playing some beautiful music all night long, baby. All night long.
And then all the extra stuff you can leave.
I even considered ordering bees, like live bees, to the house and just release them in a room. Just see what happens. Maybe some rats, too. A lot of things went through my head in about 25 seconds flat on how I could get this person out of my home. And I actually, come to think of it, there was a little part of me that said, okay, I'm going to lock the door so she can't get out. I'm gonna stay in there. Why'd you decide tonight? I ended my stream. Kiana marched over to my room and said, handle this. So I handled it. Like, Ja wasn't even home. Fucking, it was me. She marched into my room and said, she's still in my fucking house. I want her out. I want her out.
It's not hostile. It's not hostile, Malik.
Oh, God.
Okay.